only, but hey guys, we are here live today in our session, January, for our session on lunch and launch, guys. And I want you to come on in. Some of you guys may catch the replay, some of you all may catch it live, but this is a word, guys, that I really feel like was one of those times when I feel like God really gave me something that he wanted me to share. So he downloaded this to me earlier today. So if you could bear with me, it's going to be a real quick 12-minute, but I really wanted to get it out. Like I said, this is something that was downloaded to me. I'm still hitting Noah. I have not been able to get released from Noah. But I do think it is definitely a rhema word. So come on in. Again, guys, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. Please like. That is how the algorithm works to continue to keep it to grow. We have a lot of people, sometimes they may catch the replay, but we really want to encourage people to like, to share it, and to subscribe. And, I'm always asking you guys, look, share it with at least 10 people and say, hey, let's subscribe, because the more people that we can subscribe to it, again, it just gets out to more people. And it is really changing lives. I think it's doing some great things. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, I have this teaching that I believe that I know God gave me. And I really want to share this with you guys today. And it's about 12 minutes, so hang in here. And it is called Build Anyway, people. And this is, again, Noah's principle. I'm hitting Noah's principle about building before the storm comes. Building before you see the rain, building before you see the people, building before you have the support. Just build what you know God has told you to build, what God has placed in your hands. So, guys, I just want to start with something really, really simple today. And a lot of people right now are asking what's happening in the world today. Most of my conversations that I have, that I when I talk to people, we may be talking about a whole lot of different things, but it always comes down to what in the world is happening in our world today, what's happening in America, what's happening with leadership, what's happening with our systems that seemingly have been structured strong, but are seeming to fail. But the question I keep hearing God say and God asking is different. He's not asking what's happening with the world today. He's not asking what I'm hearing God say, at least what I'm hearing and discerning. God isn't asking what's happening with our systems, what's happening with people. I am hearing God specifically say, what are you building? Because scripture shows us this time over and over again. When things feel unstable, God gets very specific. He doesn't speak in abstractions. He gives instructions. And one of the things that we know in Genesis, it tells us that the earth had become corrupt and filled with violence. Guys, what we're seeing now isn't something new. What we're seeing now isn't something that just happened, that's just all of a sudden 2026, we're seeing it. But in Genesis 6:11, the earth was corrupt in God's sight, and the earth was filled with violence. But what's interesting to me is that scripture doesn't say anything about a king. He doesn't say anything about a single leader, because the issue wasn't one person. It was culture, a system that had drifted far from God's design. And that's what we're seeing today. We want to say it's about a person, but it's really about a culture that's drifted far from what God originally designed the culture to be. And in the middle of that, God doesn't gather a committee. He doesn't start a movement. He speaks to one man and he gives him one clear instruction: make yourself an ark, build. Guys, Noah wasn't given evidence. There was no rain, no urgency for the culture, no affirmation, just a blueprint. Now, that's important for leaders today because it tells us this: God doesn't wait for conditions to change before he releases responsibility. And I believe, guys, if you don't hear anything from me today, the word that I know God has given me is that he is releasing responsibility to us, to believers, those that he's called, those that are set apart. He's saying leadership often begins in seasons that don't even make sense. If we look at Hebrews and what it says about Noah, by faith Noah, who when warned about things not seen, in holy fear built an ark. Guys, we are in times when we don't know what's going to happen next. All we know is that God is telling us to build. That's leadership, acting responsibly before consequences are visible. Now, this is what I call Noah's principle, and it has shaped how I lead today. God always calls builders before the storm becomes obvious. Noah didn't build because the flood started. He built because God spoke. I want you to hear that. He didn't build because he had the followers. He didn't build because he had all the answers. He didn't build because he knew that the storm, the rain was going to start on Monday at 7 o'clock. He didn't get the weather report like we're getting. He wasn't told, hey, there were no weathermen. There was no one saying, okay, in 3 days, there's going to be a flood. He built because God spoke to him. And many of us today, we're waiting for clarity. We're waiting for stability. We're waiting for permission. When God is just saying, I'm waiting for your obedience. Now, last year, guys, I know God spoke to a lot of us about building things, whether it was a business, whether it was our nonprofit, whether it was a program, whether it was something we were supposed to start, whether it was a book, whatever it was. And many of us were waiting for clarity, stability. We were touching and agreeing with our prayer partners, waiting for someone to give us affirmation, waiting for someone to give us a prophecy. And I believe in the prophetic voice. I believe that God has given people a prophetic utterance. But we have to start understanding that God can speak to me like he can speak to the next person. And while you're waiting on your prophetic utterance from somebody else, God has already moved on. I'm telling you, in this season, God is saying build, and God is saying, look, I'm waiting for your obedience. You're waiting for other people. You're waiting for the preacher or the pastor to tell you it's your time of elevation. God is saying, I'm speaking, and all I'm asking you to do is be obedient. Now, I have lived this, guys. I mean, personally, I'm not telling you something that I haven't lived myself. I've built organizations in unstable environments. I've led through uncertainty. I've made decisions where there were no guarantees. And what I've learned is this: the pressure doesn't disqualify me, it clarified me. Some of the resistance that you're facing right now is not proof that you're off course. It might be confirmation that you're carrying something that actually matters. Builders always feel pressure before the rain. Guys, I'm telling you, God is telling us to build stuff that you've put off, Stuff that you said, I'm going to wait for the right conditions. It's going to be a government shutdown. I don't know what's going to happen. What's going to happen here? What's going to happen there? Let me tell you, all of that is a system to keep you distracted. I've been saying this since last year, guys. God is saying, I'm calling you to build. I'm calling you to build. If you're supposed to start a movement, stop waiting for someone else to confirm that for you. If you're supposed to start this business that it's gonna provide legacy for your family, stop waiting for you to get signs from other people. God is telling you, look at my blueprint. Look at the story of Noah. I'm bringing this back to you this is a dispensation of time where Noah, he's saying, build. If you look at what was happening during the time of Noah and look at what is happening now. Now, after the ark, and I'm going to fast forward, guys, because he told Noah, build the ark. But after the ark comes the wilderness, guys. And the wilderness is often misunderstood. Scripture show us that the wilderness was not punishment for Israel. It was preparation. If we look at Deuteronomy 8:2, it says, I led you through the wilderness to humble and to test you. God wasn't trying to harm them. He was trying to remove Egypt from their thinking. Because you cannot lead people into promise while still thinking like a slave. Some of us, guys, God is saying build. God is saying build today. And we're still thinking like a slave. We're still thinking, I got to get permission. We're still thinking, I'm going to get in trouble if I do that. We're still thinking that, and I'm going to talk straight to our religious, those people sitting in church, my folk. We don't want to think, if I do this, the church may not like it if I do this. Well, I'm going to say, are you obedient to your church or are you obedient to God? Because my prayer and my hope is that your church is obedient to God. But I will tell you, and I love my church, but if God says move, if God says go, I'm sorry, I can't go to my church and say, is it the right time for me to do this? Does this work out with what you guys have on your schedule? Because I know when I stand before God, I'm not going to stand before my church and have to give an account. I'm going to have to stand before God and say, was someone else's voice louder than your voice, God? Hear this again. You cannot lead people into promise while still thinking like a slave. And sometimes God slows people down long enough not to frustrate them, but to prepare them to steward what they've been asking for. Guys, this is where a leadership and how Noah was able to stand up in that. This is where it gets real. If you don't deal with old mindsets, old paradigms, old ways of thinking, if you don't deal with that stuff, you will rebuild the very systems God delivered us from. When I look at what is happening today, if we don't look at the way we're thinking, we will rebuild the very systems that God has delivered us from. We're looking at this world and we're saying, how are people not seeing this? How are people not recognizing what is happening? But guys, I'm telling you that what we're dealing with today is old mindsets, just a new time, just a new leader, but old mindsets. Guys, we will rebuild fear. We will rebuild burnout. We will rebuild control. If we look at Psalms 127, unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor is in vain. Not everything that looks productive is actually built by God. But my question to you, this isn't pressure. What, look, the question isn't whether the world is shaking, because the world is shaking. If you don't recognize or discern anything else, the world is shaking. The question is, what are you building in the middle of it? I need somebody on this chat to tell me, what are you building in the middle of it? Are you building your leadership? Are you building your family? Are you building integrity? Are you building culture? Are you building legacy? Because Noah didn't just build a boat, he built preservation, he built continuity. He built a future for people who didn't even realize what was coming. Guys, before I close, what are you building? Are you building for other people that don't even understand what might be happening in the next 5 years? Are you building legacy for your family? If the systems that we have been relying on no longer work for you? And this isn't about fear mongering. This isn't about telling you something to get you afraid. God is saying, build something that is going to withstand what is to come, because what we're seeing is not the storm. What we're witnessing right now is not the storm. So is he telling you, build your mindset, build your fortitude, build your strength, build your ammunition? What is he saying to build? Because the version of you that God is calling you to has to be able to withstand a storm. What we're seeing, and I'm going to say it again, guys, what we're seeing is not the storm. What we're seeing, as chaotic as it is not the chaos. What we're seeing, guys, dealing with wars and countries and this is not. God is saying what is to come. I'm telling you to prepare. I'm telling you to build. I'm telling you to get your mindset right. I'm telling you to get your fortitude together. I'm telling you to seek wise counsel. I'm telling you to read your word. I'm telling you to build your spirit man up. I'm telling you, stop scrolling. Stop looking at all the stuff and just dead scrolling, going from one podcaster to the next podcaster. This is a time to build your spirit man up and your discernment up. This is a time, I say this is a year of radical rest. This is when you've got to have your mind rested enough that you can discern right from wrong. This is what God is saying. I need you to discern your discernment. Build your discernment up. So when you walk in front of people, when you meet people, when people say, oh, I want you to go in partnership with me, you have built your discernment up enough that you know what right is and what wrong is. That when someone tells you something, that you can clearly look at a video and you can say, you don't need 20 angles. You can say, that was wrong. This is right. God is saying in this season, build your fortitude, your stamina, build your legacy. Stop waiting. I'm not sure what we're waiting for. I'm not sure whether we're waiting. I can't figure it out. But look, I'm going to end here. This moment we're living in is not accidental. The instability is not random. The exposure is not punishment. It is God saying, build anyway. And if you build according to my instructions, it is going to carry you to where you need to go. Build before you feel ready. Build without the applause, people. Build while the sky is still clear. Don't wait. Don't retreat. Don't over explain. If there is a book you're supposed to write, Write it. Write it. If it is a legacy, a story you're supposed to leave, leave it. What are we waiting for, people? So that's my word. Build anyway. Build anyway. I can't give you anything else. I can't give you anything else but what God gave me. And he's been pressing this on me, and he's telling his people to build. Stop waiting for everything to be right. Build. Build, people. Build before the storm comes, because we are going to be the people that have to carry other people. Do you get that? We are going to have to be the people. We can't be the people on the outside that don't know. We're the people on the inside. We're the ark builders. There are so many people that aren't going to get that word. There are so many people that are going to be led astray. But God, if you're hearing this, God is saying to you, you're the ark builder. There are people that are waiting for you. There are people that are waiting for you to help them get to where they are, to where they need to go. So Bill, stop ignoring the call on your life and what God has placed in your hands. I love you guys as always. Jackie B. Grice. Like, share, follow, but build. Build anyway.